Hi, I'm Chris Steyerwalt, and it is time for Power Play. And why can't the District of Columbia get high? Well, I mean, it gets high. It gets high as a mink coat. But the question is, why can't it legally smoke pot? Congress, which operates here, this is the home of Congress, said to the District of Columbia that authorized pot in a plebiscite in the November election. They said, I don't think so, because Congress still has oversight over the District of Columbia. So other than wanting to talk about pot, because it's funny, there are actual contours here about what's the role of Washington, D.C. as it relates to the federal district. People who understand that very well, as they have lived or live and work here, include Garland Nixon. He is a Democrat. He is a host, radio host on WPFW here in the nation's capital, where, guess what, people want to talk about when they call into Garland's show? They want to talk about D.C. statehood and voting rights all the time, and I'm sure that the pot issue has been a considerable point of discussion. Ron Bonjean talks about pot a lot less. He is Singer and Bonjean, principal at Singer and Bonjean. He is a Republican hired gun. He is a pretty big deal, and he's a former top spokesman for Republicans in the House and in the Senate. Welcome. Okay, so Garland, we'll start with you. What is the sentiment in the district? What do people think?
Well, the people in the district are angry, and they feel like, why are they doing this to us? This is unfair.
Right. Colorado can legalize pot. Why can't DC legalize
So there's a certain amount of anger, and it brings up the resentment about, the taxation without representation argument and all of that stuff. But I think there are a lot of people in the district now who feel that there is a credible argument that Congress has not, in fact, thwarted Initiative 71.
Talk to me.
Well, there's a legal argument based on the interpretation of the term enactment.
Okay.
Did in fact when the citizens voted in favor of Initiative 71, which legalized marijuana, was that in fact enactment of it? If in fact it was, then the only thing that Congress can do is say you can't spend any money to do anything about anything, but it's legal. Which, if you think about it, would turn D.C. into a giant open-air drug market.
Well, I tell you what, walking around the block sometimes around here, and I get that waft. I go, I see. Okay, Ron, why can't D.C. Why would it be wrong for D.C. to have legal pot? Why does Congress care?
Well, Congress care because it has oversight of the District of Columbia.
They just don't want them getting high.
They don't have it. Well, it came down to really one person, Congressman Andy Harris of Maryland, who inserted a rider into the latest spending bill that made sure it prevented the carrying out, let's say, of the pot,
right?
If you will.
So, the argument, though, the philosophical argument is that government has to run here, and the government has to be present here, and this has to be a safe space for the government to run. And if D.C. has legalized pot, it's not as good for the government to operate here. Is that plausible?
Well, I think that this was done in such a way where Congress didn't have to debate this issue. They didn't have to get in front of it. They didn't have to talk about it at a time where you're going to Christmas, and there are members of Congress from different districts and states that may not necessarily agree with what's going on in the District of Columbia, or may not want their nation's capital, in this situation. There are others that do, but I don't think that the leadership want to have the debate.
Garland, this will eventually be repealed. This will eventually be reversed. This is coming back. Is it, from a PR point of view, this is not the issue that the District of Columbia would like to be making headlines about, right? District of Columbia, with a rest in peace, Mayor Barry, a complicated past on drug use in the District of Columbia, and some really terrible days back in the 90s. The late 80s and early 90s, as you will recall, were a really nightmarish time. For drugs to be part of the discussion, national discussion about D.C. and its rights and its autonomy, that's not ultimately helpful, is it?
I think it is, and I think a lot of the people in D.C. do feel that this is a good opportunity for this reason. Number one, because the numbers are in favor of marijuana legalization nationwide. Number one. Number two, because since the numbers are in favor, most people will be sympathetic to the cause, which means it will give the people of D.C. an opportunity to demonstrate the problems that they're having and to make their case for home rule.
Because everybody, if Colorado and Washington and all of those places can get high and do it, then the stigma's off.
And we're talking about something that most people are in favor of anyway, so they would have no reason to run from it.
All right. Ron, do you want to say anything else about pot in D.C.?
Not really.
I think you're going to open a dispensary.
I think this is going to end up in the courts as well.
You think so?
Yeah, I think this interpretation that Garland was talking about is going to end up in the courts, and there's going to be a lawsuit filed, and there's going to deal with it. I don't think that Congress is ready in the next 2 years to have a real debate on legalization of marijuana for the District of Columbia, or have a subcommittee hearing over it either. So, as long as they don't have a vote, I don't see them getting this enacted anytime soon.
I want to credit both of you for making it through this entire segment without making a joke about Congress seems like they're high, or some joke like that. And I really want to credit both of you. That showed real restraint, and I'm very proud of you.
It was just too obvious.
It was just too obvious. That's what we do on Power Play. We don't just take the easy shots. Guys, we thank you very much. And you, Internet, Puff Puff Give. We will see you in an installment of Power Play very soon, we hope. Have a great day.